Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well. And today we've got some Star Wars news because out of D23, we now have some more footage from Star Wars Episode 9. Finally, Episode 9 gets some attention, though I definitely think that most people could agree that things like The Mandalorian, things like Clone Wars, things like all of the Disney Plus announcements are very much overshadowing anything that they're going to put forward for this movie coming up, which is the reason why I think that they had footage that had something like this in it, which is kind of giving away a lot of the plot. So if there's anyone still out there that's interested in Episode 9 of Star Wars and does not care about anything plot-wise, then you might not want to listen to this video. But anyway, the report is that Rey goes to the dark side in Star Wars Rise of the Skywalker footage at D23. Now, this is based off of the fact that in the trailer, in the footage, she is seen wielding a red lightsaber, and not just a red lightsaber, but a dual saber, very similar, it seems, to that of Darth Maul, which has a lot of people asking questions, seeing that she is also seen in some darker garb. Does she actually go to the dark side? Now, apparently, this has been a part of the leaks, that in the story, she's going to fall to the dark side and then return to the light, and that there might be some of this, balance of the Force being the main story plot there. Though, of course, it's going to be interesting to see, just how she falls to the dark side and how that all comes about, especially since she hasn't really gotten any real story background as to how she's become powerful in the Force. But, of course, we can just, forget about that because that's not important. Those are details that don't matter anymore. These are not the details that you're looking for. But let's see what the report here from Bounty in the Comments says. So, Brandon Davis over at comicbook.com saw the Rise of Skywalker footage at D23 and provided this description. A special look back at Star Wars plays to conclude the presentation. It includes all the previous films. We've passed on all we know. The 1,000 generations live in you now, but this is your fight. It culminates with footage from the new movie. The group overlooks a small village, an army of ships in spaces. Rey cuts through trees. Kylo emerges from a ship. Rey and Kylo fight surrounded by water. Palpatine narrates it nears its end. Rey is wearing a black robe. Her lightsaber splits into dual wielding like Darth Maul. Okay, so there's some people thinking that maybe it is actually going to be Darth Maul's lightsaber, which would just be a little bit hard, seeing that it got split in two in one of the original films. So that really wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, at least at this point in time. However, her going to the dark side just to come back also doesn't really make that much sense either. As I said, it looks like to me they're putting this stuff out there because they want people to talk about it, right? What am I doing right now? I'm talking about it. Many people are talking about it, saying, "Oh, is this going to happen?" That's a pretty big character arc to spoil in a trailer at even a convention, as well attended as D23 tends to be. But I think that the reason why is because the overall just desire to see Star Wars really isn't all that high, at least when it comes to the cinematic universe, right? I mean, honestly, how many people can say they are genuinely excited for Star Wars Episode 9, where they cannot wait to see it, where they actually want to see it opening night instead of seeing Cats the Musical? I mean, honestly, who could actually say that at this point? And I'm not saying that there aren't people out there that are excited, because of course there will be. There's going to be people excited for any movie, even some of the worst films out there, some of the most objectively bad films that have ever existed. There have been people that have been excited for them at some point or another. So I'm not trying to say that there aren't. However, it just seems to me that they're kind of just showing way too much. They're trying to reveal way too much, way too soon. And the only reason why I could possibly think they would be doing that is because they want to try and get people actually talking about it. Because up to that point, what was the news conversation whenever someone mentioned Star Wars? Most likely they were going to be talking about, oh, The Mandalorian. I cannot wait for The Mandalorian. Jon Favreau's Mandalorian looks fantastic. Or Clone Wars. Oh my gosh, we finally get a conclusion to the Clone Wars. I cannot wait to see that. And so those have been the dominating conversations. When Episode 9 comes up, it's like, oh yeah, the trailer was fine, I guess. I was excited when I first saw it. But now the more and more I think about it, the less interested I am. Less overall that I'm really genuinely interested in the conclusion of these stories. And also, I think more people are starting to wake up to the fact that Rey is just not that interesting of a character. Finn, not that interesting of a character. Again, great beginnings, or at least somewhat interesting beginnings that could have gone somewhere. But then, of course, we all come back to square one, Last Jedi, where all these stories just went out the window and no one seems to care anymore. Thank you, Rian Johnson, for that. But it just seems to me that that would be the only reason why to do this. Given Rey was seen fighting with the staff in The Force Awakens, it's more likely that Davis is referring to the double-bladed lightsaber that Darth Maul wields. Despite the confusing description, the idea that Rey would fall to the dark side seems apparent. For readers of Marvel's recent crop of Star Wars comics, how Sith construct their red lightsabers is revealed. Writer Charles Soule Inars Giuseppe, I'm not even going to try those names, reveal just how Sith create their red lightsabers in the pages of Darth Vader #5. They must first acquire the Kyber crystal from a Jedi's lightsaber. After acquiring the crystal, they must travel to a location that is strong in the dark side. In Vader's case, he travels to Mustafar. While there, the Sith must corrupt the Kyber crystal, teach it your pain, teach it your anger, hear it sing a hymn of darkness, make it bleed, which is pretty dark and actually kind of interesting when you think about it. Of all the things that they're doing in Star Wars right now, that actually seems to be a hell of a lot more interesting than anything they're doing in the movies. So it'd be interesting to see if that is indeed where they're going to take Rey. Is Rey going to have to go to Mustafar? Are they going to bring back one of those old worlds from the originals to try and say, hey, yeah, we know that it's strong in the dark side, and so therefore it would be a perfect place for her to do this? Is she actually going to take another person's lightsaber? Is she actually going to do this? I mean, it would make sense because she would have her own lightsaber, it seems, and also, of course, Luke Skywalker's lightsaber too. Could the lightsaber that ends up being double-wielded red, could that actually end up being a variation of Luke Skywalker's lightsaber? Could be interesting to see what they do with that, because of course there's a lot of questions because the color was the color wasn't the same, and so everyone's like, okay, so where is the actual lightsaber? Again, one of the many holes and plot holes in The Last Jedi. But still, reason why this is happening, because obviously it's going to be interesting, more so interesting than anything else they're doing. If Rey is wielding a double-bladed red lightsaber, she must have tapped into the dark side in order to make the Kyber crystals bleed red. It's also possible she discovered an old double-bladed lightsaber, but the description seems to indicate it is her weapon. Rey was seen wielding Kylo Ren's lightsaber in a commercial promoting The Last Jedi. However, the whole clip might actually be a major facade. It could be a vision Rey has similar to Luke's in The Empire Strikes Back when he fights Darth Vader on Dagobah. Rey might be seeing what she could become if she falls to the dark side. That's a very good point. Bound in the comics, I would not have thought of it in that way. So that actually is very good, though most people, I think, at this point do think that part of her story arc will be her turning to the dark side in some capacity, just because of the leaks that we've gotten, and the leaks seem to be correct because they've gotten a lot of other things correct too. It could even be manipulated by the Emperor to create a vision to sow distrust and doubt within Rey. We've seen the Emperor attempt to perform a similar trick with Yoda in the Clone Wars. He was unsuccessful. Again, those are very good points too. That's why I love reading Bounty in the comics, because they keep everything grounded in reality without going off on tangents and without going off trying to put their own political narrative on any of their articles. It's always, these are the facts, these are what we know, and this is how we're going to present it to you, which is why I always try and read from their website. But what are y'all's thoughts about this? Do you think that she's going to turn to the dark side? Do you think that it's going to be a vision? Do you think that, I mean, obviously they've made it clear, especially when you look at that stupid poster that they now have out there, which looks like a freaking PS2 game with the graphics. Seriously, I saw this poster and I thought to myself, wait a minute, I didn't realize this movie was going to be animated, but sure enough, you've got the Emperor in the background, and he's completely animated, which has me very concerned because something makes me think, okay, so are they going to have him as a Force ghost and have it be an animated Force ghost? Because that could look awful. But either way, it's going to be interesting to see nonetheless when this actually happens. But what are y'all's thoughts about this? Let me know in the comments below. And also let me know, of course, if you think that Star Wars is going to have Rey go in this direction, or do you even care at this point, seeing that her character has been so poorly developed that even if she did have a major turn like this, that it would have almost no impact on most of us. I would love to hear your thoughts and everything I talked about and everything we've covered in the comments below. If you like this video, smash that like button, give us a subscribe. It helps us out a lot. You are all amazing and beautiful people. This will be going up after the Chosen of Valhalla live stream today, which will be starting in the next 20 minutes or so. So thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.